Let's go back in time. It's the 1900s. The Erie Canal is flourishing, considered to be the engineering marvel of the 19th century. It brings together people, goods, and cultures from across the world. Sounds great, right? Well, not quite. The Erie Canal connects a lot more than people and products. It also transports invasive species. Invasive species are exactly what they sound like. When moved far from their homes, invasive species hurt native animals and can destroy local ecosystems. And this is happening in the Erie Canal. Cargo ships that traveled from the Black and Caspian seas brought with them something called ballast water. Ballast water is essentially used to stabilize a boat carrying a heavy load. Say you put tons of weight on a boat and suddenly take it off. The boat can pop up and become unstable. Ballast water helps the boat to stay balanced. This ballast water, however, is riddled with invasive species, and a big one in the Erie Canal is the round goby.
They're like little garbage disposals. They will eat mussels, they will eat native fish eggs and fry, they will eat basically anything they can get their mouths on.
That's Kate Littrell. Kate is a senior environmental scientist with the New York Power Authority. Round goby can destroy ecosystems, spread diseases, and completely reimagine the way we use the canal recreationally. These small, stumpy-looking fish have a huge, irreversible impact on our waterways. And because they are such prolific breeders and aggressive predators, they can dominate entire ecosystems and outcompete native species easily. This is Canal Keepers, a podcast where we tell the stories of people who keep the Erie Canal relevant today. I'm your host, Gloria Rivera. On this episode, Kate Littrell. Kate works to manage the spread of invasive species in New York State's canal systems. Kate works on a ton of outreach and education initiatives, teaching boaters and fishers about the impact of invasive species and how they can help stop the spread.
It's widespread. We see new invasive species popping up all the time, unfortunately, and it's never going to be a problem that goes away. I am trying to help manage invasive species on 500 plus miles of canal system, collaborating with state agencies, trying to protect all of New York's waters. And for me, that's just so rewarding that, yeah, I love it.
But this is not easy work. Kate is working constantly to mitigate this ever-evolving issue. Kate says if we don't act fast, the people who love the canal will start to see real consequences.
You have these beautiful, fond memories of going out fishing and catching all these beautiful species and seeing native wildlife, but those opportunities are in trouble. They're being threatened by invasive species broadly, including the round goby. So it's like, now imagine you're going fishing with the next generation, right? And you're only catching round goby, you're wasting bait, you're not having that same beautiful experience that you had when you were young. At the core of it, we're trying to preserve and protect our native species, and invasive species threaten that.
So, what can be done to solve this issue? The New York Power Authority is considering restricting boat traffic and even creating temporary canal closures. The Power Authority is also working on electric fish fences and bubble curtains. Electric fish fences are essentially an invisible fence made up entirely of electricity. The electric currents deter fish from moving between watersheds. Kate says these fences are used globally and can be pretty effective. Bubble curtains are exactly what they sound like. Kate describes them as a system of little tubes that creates a wall of bubbles that, in theory, will scare off fish. Kate says community outreach is one of the simplest and most effective solutions to this problem. When Kate meets with local boaters and fishermen, she says they are shocked by the severity of this issue.
I think most people are just surprised at how many invasive species there are and what's even in their backyards. They have no awareness of that. And then when you show them, they're like, oh wow, I had no idea. What can I do to fight them, and even in just my yard? So I think, yeah, it's that just lack of awareness about this stuff that's going on around us, and that even just a simple conversation or quick interaction can kind of just open that door a little bit for people and continue the conversation.
One of the biggest things people are shocked by? Just how many invasive species there are. Right now, there are over 180 invasive species in the Erie Canal. That includes the hydrilla, one of the most invasive aquatic plants in the canal. This quick-growing plant can cover the surface of the water, making a dense carpet of green and tangled plants. It can replace native plants, kill off native fish, and impact entire ecosystems. Imagine trying to boat through a carpet of plants. It's nearly impossible.
So there are so many invasive species, and we also have to think about things like climate change, right? That is actually going to start shifting the ranges of these species, and that can create new issues, right? We might have species that we didn't think were on the radar becoming a problem. There's also species that we might have a low abundance because we're kind of at the edge of their range, the edge of what they can tolerate, and if things start warming up, that might change.
Kate has a few other tips and tricks for canal users.
Clean, drain, and dry your boat. If you're transporting your boat between different water bodies, make sure that you are cleaning off any plant debris, you're hosing it off, draining your bilge, draining any bait buckets or live wells. This also applies to fishing gear, kayaks, anything that's touching the water, right? Because we also have microscopic species that can be invasive. So anything that touches the water, clean, drain, and dry.
Essentially, take your boat or gear through a car wash. Kate says it's an easy and tangible way for canal lovers to do their part.
I'm still new to canals, and the more I learn about it, the more I'm just kind of seeing the magic of it. It's just such a cool system. I hear stories from boaters saying how it's just easy boating. You can stop, you can go visit historic places, you can go eat, you can go fishing. It's just kind of just an amazing resource, and I think it has so much potential.
Canal Keepers is a production of students at the S.I. Newhouse School of Public Communications at Syracuse University. This episode was reported and written by Julia Vernelli and edited by Lauren Bavis. Produced by Dan Klosowski, who also composed our intro music. Check out our website, canalkeeperspod.com, for a visual description of a goby and a story on other invasive species impacting the canal. And follow us on Instagram @CanalKeepers. I'm your host, Gloria Rivera. Thanks for listening.